Alright, hi everyone, how's it going? And welcome to part 5 in my video series on my favorite artists. Now, got a couple more artists I want to talk about, and then I'm going to wrap this video series up. The one I want to talk about right now that I've been a fan of for quite some time now is a British artist by the name of Henry Justice Ford. And Henry Justice Ford gained fame by illustrating a series of fairy tale books that were edited by an individual by the name of Andrew Lang. These are very popular fairy tale books that came out. There are a whole bunch of them that came out too. There's the Red Fairy Book, the Blue Fairy Book, the Green Fairy Book, just all these different fairy tale books. There was the Lilac Fairy Book, that was another one. And at one point, my grandma had asked my sister and I if we wanted any books from her house, and we said yes. So we were looking through her books, and I stumbled across this one right here, the Lilac Fairy Book. As you can see right here, it's very old. It's more than 100 years old. And I know we both wanted it, both myself and my sister. You know, because you got to admit, this is kind of a cool find. Just finding a book like this, you know, that your grandma wants to get rid of. It's kind of a cool find. You know, there's all these cool illustrations in it as well that Henry Justice Ford did. There's one of them right here. Of course, you know, many more where that came from. There's another one. His illustrations. Henry Justice Ford. But yeah. Got some more here that I'll show you. But he did a lot of illustrations. Altogether, I heard he did over 1,000 illustrations for books. Over 1,000. And each one of these books, like this Lilac Fairy Book, has 100 illustrations in it. And it really makes the book. I mean, because they're so nicely done. You know, here's one he did. I believe this is Merlin right here. There's another one. I'll just go through these. Another kind of cool one right here. Yeah, really did quite a few. He lived quite a while too. He was born in 1860 and he died in 1941. That's another cool one. In addition to doing this, he was also a big fan of cricket. In fact, he had brothers that were professional cricket players. Another one definitely want to show. Couple wolves. I mean, he could draw it all. Dragons, wolves, men, women, you know, you name it. He could draw it. Eagles, as you can see right here. Another really cool one. I just had to include him. You know, like I said, these books were quite popular. And I was wondering if the book I have would be worth anything, but, you know, at the same time, from what I understand, a lot of them were printed out, and they were very popular at the time. A lot of people had them. Yeah, whether it's like battle scenes and warriors. I mean, he could just do it all. It was so cool. You know, also, like Fritz said, Henry Justice Ford has inspired a lot of artists as well. You could see why. There's another cool one right here. Yes, just a lot of great illustrations. A lot of great stuff that he did. But yeah, this book, like I said, is pretty old, and yes, so many great illustrations in this book as well. These are the ones he did. I'll just show another one right here. Another cool one. So that is Henry Justice Ford. Now I want to move right along with the next artist. Again, this is another album cover guy. This guy has done album covers for a number of bands, more recent bands though, that he's done album covers for. But I just really like his art a lot, so I thought I would show it. And that's an artist by the name of Paul Romano. And if you're familiar with the band Mastodon, he did their covers. I really like their covers, so I thought I'd show some of his stuff. Like the concepts and the designs that he has. You know, this, you tell there's something maybe, you know, spiritual about it. Maybe something having to do with emptiness. But also appears to be something technological about it as well. It has that feel. You know, just that background kind of has a technological feel to it. So I like how he did that. This is the cover of a Mastodon album, Blood Mountain. Designed this one. Also a cool one. I like how he uses nature. You know, like a lot of these sort of doom metal type artists do. They incorporate nature in a very interesting, unique way. You have to admit. There's no exception to that. He's one of those artists, too, that, you know, his album cover art makes you want to buy the album. This is an album I actually went out and bought. Mastodon, Crack the Sky. Subconsciously, the cover might have had something to do with it. Because that is a great cover. In fact, it might be one of my... it might be one of my favorites for album cover art. Definitely really like that. Some more of them right here. Yeah, he really came into fame with doing these Mastodon covers. I understand he had been around a while. He's from Philadelphia, I believe. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Or somewhere in that area. One of his. Here's one of his more famous ones that he did. The Leviathan album cover for the band Mastodon. Another one I kind of like. Almost looks like someone like astral projecting or something. Like an artist depiction of astral projection. That's what that looks like to me. Another one. Not sure what it is, but it looks cool, right? Even it's kind of a unique way of doing waves. Almost kind of, I could see some Henry Justice Ford in this. Now that I'm familiar with Henry Justice Ford, I could see his influence on a variety of artists. But another one, and another one. Another cool one right here. Yeah, and this one almost looks like it could be like a tattoo or something. It has that look to it. Alright, so that is Paul Romano, another artist I really like. There's a lot of bands, like I said, primarily newer bands that have come out within, like early 2000s, I would say. Bands that sort of emerged in that time period. But, yeah, so those are the artists that I like the most. Thought I would do a video on it, or a series of videos as it turned out to be, where I would talk about them, tell you what I thought about them. And, as you can see, a lot of them are album cover artists. Some of them have done both book and album covers. A lot of album cover artists. And I could remember, when I would buy these albums, I didn't think much about who the artist was. A lot of people wouldn't. I'd look at Master of Puppets, for example. I didn't think too much about who the artist was who had done that. You just kind of didn't in those days. No one really talked about who these people were. There wasn't much of a conversation in that regard. But now that, you could go to the internet, you could look them up, you could find out who they were. And, it's kind of cool that you could do that now. You could find out who these people are and, all the different things they have done. I didn't know that the same guy who had designed the Master of Puppets album cover also did the cover of Stephen King's The Stand. I didn't know that. And you could find out all this information now. So I think that's pretty great in a lot of ways. So, again, yeah, I went through all these artists. A lot of, some different styles here. Obviously, there's some that are very influential, especially Fritzetta. But, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video series. That's all I've got. Have a great night.